So my two strategies were number 19, verb action, and number 33, cohesion links. And we're going to go in order. So the first one is verb action, and verb action is teaching irregular verbs through experience. In the first little paragraph from the book, it says that students, when they act out the verbs, they're more likely to retain the meaning of them. And it's not only like verbs, but new words that they can learn, or that they're learning, any kind of vocabulary that if there's any time that they can act it out, it'll help them know the meaning of it quicker and help it stick. The ways that we observe the misuse of vocabulary and the irregular verbs is just by listening in on the conversations that the students are having, and maybe even noticing it in their writing. Because then whenever we notice the verbs or the words that they're misusing, it's easier for us to to plan our lesson around it. And then in a quote from the book is, as teachers observe misuse of English words, they can provide experiences that support correct usage along with repeated practice. I think this kind of goes along with having them act it out by providing the experiences and showing them the correct way to use the verbs or the words, and just practicing them over and over again. One way to encourage the use of irregular verbs or help them understand them better is to create an irregular verb journal. It's kind of a resource for the students to use to go back and maybe implement these words in their writing. And so the step-by-step portion of it was pretty self-explanatory. The first step was to observe and monitor the students and identify the words that are being misused. So kind of like what I said before, it's just having them just listen in and maybe write down some words that you hear repeatedly that they're not using correctly. And the second step is to plan active experience to practice correct usage of the identified words. An example of this is, say you have the verbs write and draw. Have the students draw a picture and write a sentence about the picture. And so the example from the book is, I drew a picture of a cat. I wrote that the cat was named Kitty. So the sentence was, I drew a picture of a cat, and then their explanation wrote was I wrote that the cat was named Kitty. Next is document the activity by taking photos of the students as they participate. So if they're action verbs, have the student take pictures of the students doing that action, so then they can know what it looks like to be using the correct verb or whatever, if that makes sense. Next, involve the students in contributing to an irregular verb journal. So like I said earlier, just having them write in their journals and encouraging them to use the words from their journal in their books or in their stories or whatever. And then next you can create a word wall or a chart of all the words that you've gone over in the all the irregular verbs that you've gone over in class to once again provide them with another resource for them to use. Then the next step is continuing to observe the students, making sure that if you've gone over a word that they're using the correct term now, or the correct form of it now. Excuse me. And then one of the next ones is, I lost it, to evaluate your approaches and the learning that takes place. So I think this is just self-evaluation to see how your lessons are going, if you need to switch it around a little bit. Switch it around. Maybe make some of your raise some of your expectations. And the last one is just to continue to observe and identify correct usage of the verbs, and maybe even some new verbs that they're starting to use that you can incorporate into a lesson. The next one is cohesion links. And cohesion links are the important parts of written and spoken paragraphs that connect sentences so that they form a cohesive whole. There are several cohesion links, but the main one the book talked about was pronouns, and pronouns that require the reader to recall a previously stated fact or condition. These are confusing for ELLs because they might not know what the pronoun is referring to, and so it's really important for you to talk about the cohesion links to help them improve both their oral and written English, because if you talk about it and they get a better understanding of it, it'll help them with their English. So the couple steps that I listed was first of all, when you're looking at like a reading passage or a paragraph, go sentence by sentence and talk about the pronouns in that sentence, and then whenever you move on to the next sentence and you see like the word he, ask the students what he is referring to. See if they can go back to the sentence before, or a couple sentences before, and name off the he or the it or whatever it could be. This just helps them make the connections from previous sentences or previous paragraphs. And then for some not necessarily guided practice, but independent practice, have the students pair off and give them a paragraph or a passage to read, and have them draw arrows from the pronoun to what it's referring to, because then that'll help them make the connections on their own. And then the last thing to do is just practice with them. Review it, talk about it, make it more independent as you go. And yeah.